of material goodness are elevated to a higher planetary system. Those who are transcendental even to the material modes of nature are situated in the mode of pure goodness. They attain eternal life in the spiritual world. Evam parvartate sarga sthiti sanyam yevacha guna vekti kradarajan mayaya paramatmana. Manoj continued, my dear King Dhruva, it is simply by the illusory material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by the interaction of the three modes of material nature that creation, maintenance and annihilation takes place. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Loknath Swami Ti Namne Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namne Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharya Nirvisai Sunyavadi Paschat Desatarani Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavineshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataru Bhayasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayo Yevacha Patitanam Pavan Bhayo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rame 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rame Rame Hare Hare. Bit louder this time, please. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rame Rame Hare Hare. Some new faces are here around today. How many of you are attending this class for the first time? So you know the background. Or do I need to recap what's been happening? You knew, okay. In this canto, it's a story of a great devotee, Dhruva Maharaj. He is the great-grandson of Brahma, grandson of Swayambhu Manu, and son of Uttanpad. Uttanpad, the king, had two queens, Suruchi and Suniti. Suruchi was more favorable, or the favorite of the king, and he actually disregarded the senior, the queen. Though she was very beautiful, in Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami describes her beauty, but for some reason, Uttanpad was more liking to the junior queen, Suruchi. Suniti means follow the rules and regulations. Good character, goodness. Suruchi means you follow your own wishes. What you do, what you want to do. So one day, Dhruva Maharaj was the king had two sons, one Dhruva Maharaj from the elder queen and Uttam from the younger one. And one day when Dhruva Maharaj went to his father, his younger brother, Uttam was sitting on the throne, with the king was on the throne and he was on his lap. So Dhruva Maharaj tried to climb up and sit on the father's lap as well, because this is his father. But his stepmother, Suruchi, pulled him out and said, "You are not qualified to sit on your father's lap or throne. And if you want to sit on your father's lap, then you have to go and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be reborn from my womb, then you can qualify." That's the qualification. The first part of Suruchi's statement is correct. You go and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the second part, that you will be reborn through my womb, that's wrong. Because if you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and if you please Him, that's the end of the cycle of rebirth, life and death. But that second part of Suruchi's statement was wrong. But Dhruva Maharaj was very distraught. He went running back to his mother, and by this time the attendants of the assembly, they had already informed Suneti. Now this was a very distorting, very disturbing incident, because she was already neglected by the husband, and of course the other queen, and now this is passed on to her son. Dhruva Maharaj is only 5 years at this moment. So they both started lamenting about it, and then Dhruv repeated what has happened. Suneti, Dhruv's mother, says that actually your stepmother is correct. She is right. You need to go and worship the Supreme Personality of God. You see the character of Suneti. She takes up the good part of the advice that the second queen has given, that you worship the Supreme Personality of God, but neglected the telling of the rudeness of Suruchi. And she advised, she is correct, you have to go and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruva said, where can I find him? I heard that the sages, they go to the jungle, to go to forest to do tapasya, to austerities and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruva Maharaj took off from the house. He's only 5 years old. On the way, Narad Rishi, he encounters Narad Rishi, and Narad first tests him how determined he is. He tells him, hey, this is, where are you off to? Then when finding out that he's going to find the Supreme Personality of Godhead, says it's very tough job. It's not meant for kid like you, 5 years old. People, when they grow older, mature, then they go in the forest and worship the Supreme Personality of God and do tapasya. Tapasya means austerities. You do all sorts of things, austere things. But Dhruva Maharaj said, Narad Rishi, I know you are a very exalted person. I know you can help me. But if you don't want to help me, please don't discourage me. I am determined, I'm going whatever happens. And when Narad Rishi, I'm cutting it short, when Narad Rishi realized this fellow is very determined, so he directed him, told him where to go. You go to Madhuban in Vrindavan, and there you chant this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and also told him that you bathe in the Yamuna river 3 times a day, and all instructions. So Dhruva Maharaj, when it goes, it's from, he's living Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, if you know the history of India, and heading towards Mathura, Vrindavan. So and he goes through the forest as well. At that time, there were lots of animals in the forest. It wasn't populated as it is now. You can hardly find any man-eating animals in the forest these days, except for in the sanctuaries. So he goes there and he eats a fruit That's no human being eats. Only monkeys eat that. And he eats that one fruit every 3 days. And then he starts drinking water every 6 days. And he stops that even. He starts breathing once in every 12 days. Just imagine he mastered the yoga system, so he can take one breath in 12 days and could still survive. And when he was doing this, is in 6 months, 1 month. I'm not following the actual process, but I'm just recapping the story. Just in 6 months' time, he was doing such severe austerities that when he takes his breath, he actually held the breath, and the whole universe started suffocating because he was breathing once in 12 days. So the demigods went rushing up to Lord Krishna and requested him to do something about this little kid. But before then, Indra, if you know the Bhagavatam stories, Indra always tried to, he's always worried that somebody will take up his kingdom. He is the king of the demigods. So he tried to disturb Dhruva Maharaj, but he failed. Then now they are running back to Lord Krishna and asking him to do something. And Krishna assured them, okay, don't worry, I'll go and fix it up. And in the meantime, Dhruva could actually have darshan of Lord Krishna in his heart. Remember, he's meditating, chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya with his eyes closed, and he could see the Lord Krishna in his heart. When Lord Krishna came up in his presence, in physical form, Dhruva Maharaj was still meditating, his eyes closed, and he will not open his mouth. Lord Krishna called out, I'm here. But he was enjoying, was relishing the darshan of the Lord in his heart. So the Lord quickly pulled out his image from his heart, and then he lost what he was witnessing. He suddenly opened his eyes and saw the Lord in his presence there, in the same form that he was witnessing inside. And the Lord gives him the benedictions. And remember, if you have the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or if you are a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the material likings are vanquished. You don't have any likings for it. I missed out. When Dhruva Maharaj left his home, he was going to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead and ask him for a kingdom higher than Lord Brahma's. Remember, Lord Brahma is his great-grandfather, but he wanted a position higher than it, more exalted than Brahma. When he saw Lord Krishna in face-to-face, then he decided, Lord Krishna asked him, what you want? He said, now that I've got you, I don't have desire for anything else. Please don't give me anything. But Lord Krishna said, now you came up with this desire that you wanted a kingdom. I will give you a kingdom, a special planet, Dhruloka, which is higher than Brahma, Satyaloka, Brahma's abode. And he told him, you after 33 or 30,000 years that you will be ruling here for 33,000 years, and after that you will come to this abode, and which this is especially for you. So after getting the benediction, he comes home, and in the meantime, his father Uttanpad, when Dhruva Maharaj has left the kingdom and went in the forest, he started looking for him. He now realized the wrong thing that he had done. But Narad Muni came and told him, don't worry about it, he's in good hands, this will be all right. So when Guru Maharaj comes back, there's a great welcome for him. The king facilitates that. And as soon as Guru Maharaj comes, he's just 5 years and 6 months now. And he gives him the kingdom and leaves everything. Utanpa, this is Guru Maharaj's father, goes in the forest himself for doing tapasya, to austerities, to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One day, his younger brother went in the forest to do hunting, and he was killed by one of the yakshas. Yakshas is a being which is, in Bhagavatam it says this, when Brahma does the creation, he created yakshas. Yaksha actually means protection, protect, and instructed them to go and reproduce and populate the world. But he attacked Brahma himself. Instead of going and obeying his instruction, tried to attack him, wanted to eat him up. Then Brahma quickly produced another being and asked him to Raksha. Raksha means protect. And Raksha becomes Rakshas. We call it demon. And Srila Prabhupada says that the Yakshas are followers of or devotees of Lord Shiva, and they reside in the Himalayan region. So they have got mysterious powers as well. So they killed Uttam, Dhru's younger brother, his second brother or step brother. And Dhru Maharaj became very angry, and he declared a war on the Yakshas and started killing them. They did their best to counteract Dhru Maharaj's attack. There was fierce fighting between the two, but Dhru Maharaj got the upper hand. He had an arrow given by Lord Narayan. So nothing could come in between it. So once Dhru Maharaj, once he even put the arrow on the bow, millions of arrows started coming, and they were cutting the Yakshas' hands, feet, and head, and everything. So he decided to destroy the whole dynasty, all the Yakshas. At that time, Swambhu Maharaj, his grandfather, Dhru Maharaj's grandfather, comes down and with sages and wanted to give some instructions to Dhru Maharaj, so that he should not do all this. He came in and told Dhru Maharaj, stop, it is not good to become unnecessarily angry. Dhru Maharaj became angry. It's a Kshatriya, he is entitled to be angry, but unnecessarily angry. He started killing people who did not offend, did not commit any crime. He was one Yaksha who killed his brother, and he started destroying the whole dynasty. He wanted to destroy all the Yakshas. So Swambhu Manu says that now you are going beyond the limit of killing Yakshas who are actually not offenders, which is not killing sinless people, is not authorized in the scripture. And it does not befit our family, because this family, Swambhu Manu, is supposed to populate the planet, and is supposed to know the religion and what is irreligion and religion. He said, Swambhu Muni says that it doesn't befit us, our family. So, and the offense of one Yaksha, you want to kill all the other people, and it is forbidden to kill innocent people. Should not be doing it. You are pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore remember, he had already had darshan of the Lord in person, and you are pure devotee of the Lord. He's reminding him what his achievements are. So therefore, the Lord is thinking about you, and you're supposed to be setting an example. As remember, this is from Brahma, Swambhu Mani, and Uttanpan, and then Dhru. right at the beginning, and we're supposed to be setting example. I am surprised you are doing this, that you are sort of losing control of your anger. You are killing innocent people. The Lord is very satisfied with this. These are, I'm recapping these slokas from this chapter, earlier, these slokas. Lord, the Swayambhu Manu says, the Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when devotee treats others with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. So it's an instruction for us. One who satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. That's happiness. The creation of material world begins with the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This is the, whether it's human beings or any living entities are composed of these 5 elements. That is the way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. One should not be disturbed by the ways of material nature. Material nature is the 3 modes of nature, which I'll come shortly. Our relationship with the body is completely material. The real itself is the spirit soul, which is never killed or destroyed. So your brother actually, Swayambhu Manu, is telling Dhruva that your brother, only the body is killed and his soul is still there. Now, in the purport, we have mentioned about the Srila Prabhupada mentions, or even in the just the 3 modes of material nature, going back to Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 14, Lord Krishna explains the 3 modes of material nature in very detail. And the sloka is this: Urdhva gachanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasa jaganye gunavritista adho gachanti tamasa. Translation is like this: those situated in the modes of goodness gradually go upwards to the higher planets. And those in the abominable modes of ignorance go down to the hellish world. The result of action in the 3 modes of nature are more explicitly set forth in chapter 14 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Upper planetary systems, so mention about the planetary system, the upper planetary, we are in the 7th, there are 14 planetary systems. We are in the 7th, and above us, the 8th planet, there are 6 heavenly planets, and below us there are 7 hellish planets. Not hellish, sorry, no, wrong terminology I use. There are planets lower, which are, and we are in the middle ones. They also say 3 planetary systems, 3 loke in Sanskrit. So the Swarga lokas are the heavenly planets, Urdhva loka, the upper planetary system, Madhya loka is where we are, and Ardha loka is the lower planetary system, where the middle one is where human beings reside, the lower ones, Daityas and Danas and Nagas reside. So above us, our planet, the 8th planet system is called Bhuloka, and then Bhualoka, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa, and Satyam. Satyam is the Satyaloka, is the top, the 7th one, or the 14th one, if you start from bottom, is where Brahma resides. That's the Brahma sloka. And below us, the 7 lower planetary systems are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatal, and Patal. But these ones normally are, all the 7 lower planetary systems are normally classified as Patal loka. So according to the degree of development of mode of goodness in us, in human beings, a living entity can be transferred to various planetary systems. If we are in the, as we progress, we go up. As we digress, we go downward. We can hardly calculate the conditions of the life in Brahmaloka. Is the one lifetime of Brahma is of trillions of years in our calculation. So you can see there's people live longer and longer. There are more opulence there. If you compare the opulence that we have here in the Earth planet, the higher you go, there are more and more opulence and less effort you have to put in. Everything is provided for it. The mode of, thus in mode of goodness, mode of passion, Rajogun, is mixed of both goodness and the Tamoguna, the goodness of ignorance. If he should be purely in the mode of passion, if that is the middle one, he will be simply remain in the earth as might get some promotion, become a king, a rich man. But if you are dominated with mode of passion, then you will stay here. And people, Prabhupada says that people of this earth planet cannot forcibly go into the higher planet. We can't promote ourselves with any machines like with rockets and other things that people who are trying to go to other planets is a futile exercise. The lowest quality, the mode of ignorance, is described here as abominable. The result is very, very risky. In the lowest quality of in material world, beneath the human level, there are 8 million species of birds. Remember, 8.4 million species with a 400,000 species of human beings. All the other 8 million are lower beings, lower than human beings, which are birds, beasts, reptiles, trees, etc. They come into the 8 million beings. So, mode of ignorance, that's where we're gonna go. And according to the development of the mode of ignorance, people are brought down to these abominable conditions. There is an opportunity. Srila Prabhupada says that there is an opportunity for men in the modes of ignorance and passion. There is an opportunity for us to progress ourselves, elevate ourselves, so make promotion. That is through, who can try and guess? How can we promote ourselves from mode of passion and ignorance, go into mode of goodness? Yeah. Through Krishna consciousness, exactly. God consciousness, if you don't want to use the word Krishna, but Srila Prabhupada specified Krishna consciousness. And I don't have time to explain to the newcomers what is Krishna consciousness, but you are already in it. If you come to the temple, you are conscious of Krishna. Then you need to develop it more. Now I've been talking about the modes. How could you recognize the 3 modes? In Bhagavad Gita, text 14, 6, chapter 14, text 6, Lord Krishna says happiness, knowledge, not this material knowledge, not becoming a PhD in this world, but knowledge of the Shastras, the scriptures. So happiness, knowledge of the scriptures, and freedom from sin. That means you are not committing any sinful acts, are the characteristics of mode of goodness. So if one is in the mode of goodness, he will be naturally happy. It is not that one needs to get lots of money to be happy, or a beautiful wife or beautiful handsome husband to be happy. Its happiness comes from mode of goodness. You will be naturally happy. You don't need all the material things to be happy. Mode of goodness, you will naturally be happy and have the proper knowledge. Remember, knowledge here doesn't mean this knowledge from the universities. It's the knowledge of the scriptures. Like Srimad Bhagavad Gita tells us, it's got the information, it's the manual for living. Or whether you are a Hindu or Hare Krishna, or Muslim or Christian, if you read Bhagavad Gita carefully, there's no mention of Sanatan Dharma, Hindus or Indians. It is applicable to everybody, every human being. That's why it is popular amongst everyone around the world. So that's the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. If anything, that should be the first book that you study or read, because it tells you how to live, what not to do, and what to do to get out of this material bondage. It tells us what to eat, what not to eat. Sometimes people ask a question as where is written in the scriptures that you should not be eating meat, should not be drinking alcohol. Is there in chapter 17. If you can't understand, that's not the fault of Lord Krishna, it's your understanding. It's there, it says explicitly what you should be eating. If you eat this, what will happen? If you eat this, what will happen? If you drink this, this is gonna be the outcome. Drink this is gonna be the outcome. So it's there. Need to read and study. And in mode of goodness, you are not committed to sinful activities. Whereas in the mode of passion, you will have unlimited desires. Mode of passion, the second one, unlimited desires. Want this, want that, want that, want this. We get to one thing, you are not satisfied, you want something else, you got to get that, you want something else. So unlimited desires. You will never do any action unless there is some profit. What's for me? And when we ask people to do things, what's for me? What am I going to get? So that's in mode of passion. And in the mode of ignorance, passion becomes lazy, crazy, and destructive. And lazy means it's sleeping most of the time. Crazy, do crazy things. In Bhagavad Gita 14:11, that is chapter 14, text 11, Krishna says that in the mode of goodness, all the gates of body are illuminated. There are 9 gates in our body, 9 openings, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, mouth, and urinal, and these are the 9 gates like this. And they are illuminated with knowledge of the Shastras. This means we do not want to see anything. When we are illuminated with good knowledge, that we don't want to see any nonsense. We don't want to eat any things that's we are not supposed to eat. We don't want to hear any nonsense. We don't want to go to places where we're not supposed to be going. We don't speak nonsense. That's mode of goodness. Eat, drink, see, hear. That means the opposite. You go to the Krishna's the temple, you eat prasadam, you chant the Krishna's pastime, you chant the Mahamantra, Krishna's names. That's in mode of goodness. When you are 14:12 tells us what's there in mode of passion. You will have great attachment to your activities. You will endeavor not to fulfill your uncontrollable desires, always working hard. And this hard work is compared as to ashes, donkeys. The mode of ignorance, there is only darkness. I've already mentioned something about destinations. Where are we gonna go in the 3 modes? In next sloka 14:14, chapter 14, text 14, Lord Krishna describes the destination of people in different modes. If you are in mode of goodness, you will attain higher planets after death, and that's heavenly planets. And it's also mentioned there that sometimes a soul, by virtue of his piety, goodness, good things, I said, he may ascend to higher planets like Janaloka, Tapaloka, Mahaloka, and Satyaloka. These are lokas above us. And there one may live for trillions of years until the end of Brahma's life. Brahma lives for 100 years, so it's live throughout the Brahma's one lifetime. And you may, depending on what good activities you have done, you may be promoted to the Vaikuntha Loka, the spiritual world. If you are in the mode of passion, again you will come back to this material world and take back among fruity workers. Again, you will have to struggle. Whatever struggle we are going through now, there might be even more struggles. So we'll stay here. Repeated birth and death. And in the mode of ignorance, you'll go down to animal kingdom. Sorry, I've given you, wasn't anything much pleasing thing that I've spoken about, but that's is a part of the knowledge that we have got. This is Bhagavatam states, I didn't make anything up. The idea is that we acquaint ourselves with what are these three modes of nature, how we can progress within it, how we can elevate ourselves within it. And the simple way is Krishna consciousness. Practice Krishna consciousness. It's prasadam, service to these deities, and chanting the Mahamantra. Any questions and comments? There's a lot I've told you. Came right from the whole chapter, the whole canto I've sort of covered. So in about 40 minutes, I've given you a lot of information. I don't know how much you can digest. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
My question is, what does it mean when the nine ways of the body is illuminated by knowledge? What does it mean in practice?
It doesn't mean that we'll get light shining from there, the light gates. But that means, remember when I sort of told you what actually it means, that remember the eyes, ears, nostrils, mouth, and the urinal and the back one. You don't want to hear anything else. You just want to hear Krishna's pastimes and Krishna kirtans and Krishna's names. That's illuminating your ears. You don't want to hear anything else. Don't want to, your eyes are illuminated with knowledge. Don't want to see anything except the Lord and His devotees. I mean, you can't live, it doesn't mean you close your eyes and while you're working in the material world, but you don't have a liking for it. You just want to live do what you want to do, but as soon as you get out and listen to the bhajans and kirtans and nostrils, how's your nostrils illuminated? You don't want to smell any other thing but the tulsi leaves offered or the flowers offered at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You don't want to eat anything except prasad that's offered to Lord Krishna. And when you leave your body, the soul could live through any of these 9 openings. Have I answered your question? Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, bro.
Considering that our goal in Krishna consciousness is to reach Vaikuntha Loka, the spiritual world, what is the purpose, the use to have knowledge of the higher and material planetary system?
If you know what is good and bad, you will avoid it. Otherwise, you are working in ignorance. You don't know where to go and what. And if you go to some place, how do you handle it? You should have that knowledge to avoid those things. If you don't have any knowledge of what is good and bad, you'll do everything and anything. But the knowledge is given to you so that you know what to avoid, what to increase, where you should be going. Otherwise, you'll be ignorant. You'll be doing some silly things. But you know that what to avoid, what we should not be doing. For example, how to associate with other people. You should be associating with devotees, like-minded people. Who should you not be associating with? Where you should be eating, what you should be eating, what you should not be eating. Like meat eating is a common question people ask. Where is it said if should not be eating it? Or actually, if you look at the Shastras, the people sacrifice animals. Even now, they are in India, they sacrifice animals, offering it to goddess Kali, and they eat that. That's prasad. So if you don't know what is the proper prasad, you will go there and eat it. The prasad that we are talking about is Krishna prasad. They also call that prasad. But how are we supposed to eat that? That's the knowledge we need to have. No, we're not talking about any prasad, we're talking about Krishna prasad. And you know how you don't have to come to the temple to get Krishna prasad. You can have Krishna prasadam at home. Anything you eat, you offer to the Krishna. Now I'm saying anything you eat, anything that you want to eat, that doesn't mean you offer anything to Lord Krishna. He has specified, patram pushpam phalam toyam, in what you should be offering to Lord Krishna. Now, when you say you should be eating Krishna prasadam, somebody might think, oh, I can offer lamb chop and eat that. No. So that knowledge we need to have, what we can offer and what we cannot offer. That's important. Answered your question? Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Prabhupada uses philosophers, scientists,
Yeah.
At the same time, he always talks down on the scientists and philosophers today. Clarify why he uses this example.
Can you repeat the last one?
Clarify why he uses scientists and philosophers as examples of those when he talks them down by a lot of other places.
It's associated with the question Prabhu has asked, that why we need to know this. So the scientists and the philosophers that talk about improving our condition of life here in it. They are, like for example, the scientists have worked out this vaccine for coronavirus. That's something good they've done. They've saved so many millions of lives. So that's a mode of goodness. It's not that not all scientists are atheists. Some of the scientists are very advanced devotees. So it's another reason is this. This is the other people that we can today's situation, people can associate with that. In the Bhagavatam, we see it's full of sages, exalted devotees. We have no connection with them. We share only the stories in the literature. But scientists and philosophers, we can assess, we know them, some of them, may not be all of them. So Prabhupada has given us living examples. He also given us examples of exalted devotees like Dhruva Maharaj. This canto, I just recall it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Puri, he heard this story 100 times. This one and Prahlad Maharaj's story. He heard that 100 times. Why? 5-year-old, both Prahlad also 5-year-old. The determination Dhruva Maharaj is. Narad Rishi tried to discourage him, get him out of it. And he goes, remember at that time, goes from Kanpur to Vrindavan, Mathura, through the jungle, and full of animals, meat-eating animals. He wasn't discouraged by that. Narad Muni told you, the place you are going is full of animals, they're going to eat you. Never mind. Determination. And within 6 months, he achieved what he wanted to. That what we spend all of our lifetime trying to get it. Still, we don't get it, but Dhruva Maharaj got it in 6 months' time. So it's determination. So these are examples, but Prabhupada, when he gives some living examples mean that the people who we relate with, it makes more sense. The example that I want to pass on to it, why we should be reading Bhagavad Gita. I've already told you one, and most of the Indians, Hindus, they have Bhagavad Gita recital after somebody passes away. The 15 days ritual they have for 13, 15 days time, they recite Bhagavad Gita. That is after death. If one recites before death, you can eliminate your mysteries. You can at least reduce it. I know, I'll give you an example. One of my brother-in-laws, in 2017, he's still alive. Right? This is a living example. Once I heard that, I got more encouragement to distribute Bhagavad Gita and tell others. In 2017, he was diagnosed as brain cancer, tumor in his head. His hands were shaking. He could not sit like this. He had to be held to move around. And in his family, there was a practice of reciting Bhagavad Gita at the time of death, before dying. His grandfather, when the grandmother was in the bedridden, she recited Bhagavad Gita for her. This is the time, at the time of death. Okay? And when his grandfather was leaving his body, he recited, and his son recited Bhagavad Gita to him. So when this fellow, my brother-in-law, who was diagnosed with brain tumor and was given 3 months' time to live, at the most he's gonna live for 3 months. So he was sort of rejected. The doctor told him, take him home, do whatever you can, let him enjoy the few days he has got. So they took him home. So one day he asked his son, he's got one son, please son, can you recite Bhagavad Gita to me? So he was preparing to leave his body, was preparing to die, because that was the practice. His grandfather lived, grandmother's time, his grandfather's time, father's time. They set him down in a chair. He started reciting Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1. By the time they reached chapter 18, he got out of the chair and sat on the floor. He's still alive. The doctor said given him 3 months' time. He's still alive, and the shaking has gone away. So these are the benefits of reciting the scriptures or reading scriptures. We may not be able to get rid of all our karmas, but will reduce its intensity. For example, if you're supposed to get an accident and die in an accident, you'll get an accident. Some limbs will be broken, but you will survive. Sorry for going out of the topic. Any other question or comments? So if you have any sickness, any misery that you want to get rid of it, this is the solution. The only thing is faith. Any other comment or questions? Yeah, Prabhu.
Also, in the description, it says there's no witnesses that, as you mentioned, one is happy, but it's not so the happiness that one is saying.
Yeah.
We also understand that this is sugar something. It's not. I understand they're not experiencing.
Yeah.
What is the happiness that someone is experiencing? What is the happiness that someone is experiencing? It's not.
It's not the happiness. Remember in the mode of passion, and normally when we get some happiness, like we, for example, we relish good prasadam. How long does that happiness last? Similarly, you get some money that you get whatever you want to, but that's not lasting happiness. If you got money, you have to safeguard it. You have to look after it. That happiness is not real happiness. And in mode of goodness, you don't worry about anything around you. There are examples of devotees, pure devotees who had nothing, but they were still happy. They were not complaining. Happiness maybe is blissfulness. It's hard to describe that happiness in words, but you need. It's bliss. It's gonna stay there all the time. Normally in material world, happiness comes. We are happy in one moment. You get aches here and there, but you will get aches in your body. It's not going to bother you. You are oblivious to all the miseries around you. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna. You've got a material body. You will have pains and aches. You will get hungry. You will get thirsty. But it's not going to disturb you. That's a short description of happiness. Anybody else? Yeah, bro. Mataji, any more? Thank you very much for being such an attentive class. I appreciate it. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhu.